Hi Amber, this is Wendy Marquez and I wanted to show you something that's important to me. I don't know if you could see it straight or if it's written backwards, but two things that I have in my classroom that I always talk to my kids about at the beginning is mistakes are important. So I say mistakes allow thinking to happen, and then they get that it says math along the side, and I leave it up on the board all year long just to remind them that mistakes help you to learn. And then I also have the statement, I disagree and here's why, because there are going to be times when your answers don't match, but it doesn't mean you're right and somebody else is wrong, and it's rude to say you're wrong when maybe they're not. And so by saying I disagree, that means that there's an opportunity for the other person to be correct and you to be wrong, but you're using evidence. That's the here's why part. You're using evidence to compare and show that, sorry, I just ate lunch, to show that you're gonna come to consensus on who has the correct answer. What do I wanna do after graduation is kind of what I'm already doing, but I'm just gonna get paid some more money to do it. But I also have some open opportunities that we are doing what we call U College, because I work at Upland High School. And we're also doing dual enrollment. And so if the school wants the opportunity to keep some classes on campus, I might be able to teach the math classes through the dual enrollment or the U College if I can get a master's degree in math. And then also, like, as I'm getting closer to retirement, maybe I might want to work as an adjunct teacher for like one class or something when I'm done with my big job here. I think I told you I've been working here for 28 years. Something that I really like about myself, I took a training called Capturing Kids' Hearts, and it talks a lot about relationships with kids. And one of the things that they told us to do is to stand at the door and say hello to each student. And I also read an article somewhere that said that only 20% of kids get their name called in a week, so they don't feel seen. So what I try really hard is, my goal is always the third week to know everybody's names, because it's like 170 names. But the hard thing for me is I'm a visual learner, so I tend to learn with a seating chart. But what I try to do now is I try to memorize their actual facial features so that when I'm at the door, I can recognize them. And so I say, welcome, Amber. How are you doing, Wendy? And so you get to know a kid outside of just being their math teacher. And it changed the behavior in my classroom from day one. Like, you can't be a jerk to somebody who welcomes you into their classroom every single day. And so I feel closer to my kids. I can tell when there's a change in a kid. So when a kid, you see their norm and then you see the norm change, then you can recognize something's going on, and you can just say, hey, you okay? Just checking in. Maybe later on that day I can email them and just say, just checking in, you looked a little upset today, or you looked a little off, or something like that. And it's really changed my teaching. I've been doing that for like the last, I want to say 5 or 6 years. And it's changed everything about what I do and the relationships that I have with the kids and how they feel walking into the room. Let's see. So there is something that's that happens to me when I'm stressed out. I get visited by dragonflies. When my mom passed away, the day she passed away, it was the first time that my father, my sister, and I were visited by a dragonfly. And every time, like this morning, I walked out to my car and there was a dragonfly on my antenna, long enough that I was able to call my daughter, and she came out and we literally had a photo shoot with the dragonfly. There was one time when I was monitoring soccer fields for AYSO, and all the parents were going crazy that day. Like, everybody was crazy. And there was a swarm of like 50 dragonflies on the field. So every time I'm feeling stressed out, a dragonfly flies by and I'm like, okay, hi, Mom. And then I know everything's gonna be okay. So if there's anything more you wanna know about me, I can talk to you after class, but that's a little bit about me. Thanks.